Hello and welcome to this yet another video. And in this video, we are going to record around how we can solve what are the learnings from a pandemic and what should be a new way for handling a pandemic or ra- rather the entire life cycle for a medical research in terms of coming up of a medicine, new medicine, which is as impactful, which is for a disease which is as impactful as COVID or even an endemic, which is kind of creating this kind of travel restriction and all those kind of things. So that's the point. I think we are trying to discuss. Let's first try to look into key problems. What are there? One of the fundamental problem that we see is there's so many phases, and every phase there is issues, right? So for example, obviously research is one, so there are different methods of research. The methods of research, then there is subject nomination. So one of the issue that happens is some of the vaccines are not tested for all type of demography or age groups and all those kind of things. So that's a subject nomination, test subject issue. Then there is a quick approval issue, the firms across the globe, and they don't trust the organization which has produced the data, so they kind of validate by multiple means. That's another issue. Then there's a uh, even though they approve, community is not confident about them. They feel like everyone, all big guys have some arrangement with each other, and vaccine is still not good enough. They have their own point of view. Then there is then the side effect treatments, and one of the very important one is the supply bias. I think biggest one of the biggest blocker in terms of stopping the current pandemic is people have vaccines, uh, and the people who don't, surplus vaccines, people have surplus vaccines and people don't have vaccines at all. So there are unused vaccines lying out and about to expire. Even that kind of scenarios are happening. Vaccine nationalism and all those kind of things, which are kind of sometimes needed as well when there's a genuine emergency in a country. But otherwise, if they're really about to expire, then they have to be given out quickly to end the pandemic fast. So how blockchain can solve this, and where is the loophole, and which is the point this has to be fixed. So let's look into this on a whiteboard. Let me jump to whiteboard. So okay, so who all is involved? So obviously government is involved, and hundreds of governments are involved. And who else is involved? You are involved as an individual. So you are involved as an individual. Then WHO is involved. Different medical central agencies are involved. Companies which are developing agencies are involved, and manufacturers are involved. Then travel agencies are involved because they're critical. Airlines are involved, countries, travel authorities, and airlines, those are involved. And what I'm saying, what's the kind of solution I'm trying to pitch? Okay, where is that problem happens rather? I'll just try to go to the crux fast, and then we'll go into detail later. The crux of it is WHO has given approval in advance in terms of crux of issue in terms of supply, right? So WHO has given an approval for based on some test results those companies has produced, but it is not able to kind of say, okay, this means this can be this company now need to supply so much vaccines for these many peoples. Uh, and they're okay, these vaccines are good or medicine is good for so and so people and has to be supplied so to these many people. So they're not able to kind of dictate a term in any means. uh, so what happened is, that's where the lot of vaccines are getting kind of remaining idle in many countries, and other countries don't have vaccines. So that's what is happening. So so what need to come in a contract? You need to enforce a contract or to actually have uh, different type of them, different kind of subject selection. So subject should have all type of people, or if they don't have it, then they can have to be explicit about it, uh, uh, both in terms of age, or if they are suffering with any ailment like diabetes or hypertension or cancer or something, then demography related, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, Arab, or whatnot, like that. And after that, WHO also need to give enforce what kind of medical history need to be checked. So all this is coming upfront from WHO as a part of contract. So companies who want to participate in developing vaccines has to provide these details in advance. When they say subject uh, medical history, whatever is the minimum medical history that has to be carried for every subject, so that later on, if vaccines something wrong happens even after vaccination, uh, there should be a previously tested medical history. It should not, like, uh, retrospectively we are trying to tell, okay, the person already had this thing, that's why this had that effect happened. Um, so that kills confidence, and that should be avoided as much as possible. That's what I can say. Then obviously the dose will get injected, so all that history get recorded live. I mean, live in the sense, it's not like, after everything happens, everything is getting submitted. So what is getting suggested is every step is kind of getting added uh, as a record in a blockchain, so that everyone knows what's progressing with each of the research firms, or each of the vaccine trial and all that. So then you have a dose response. Then you have then you can obviously have, two kind of reaction. You can have a reaction. I don't mean only a bad reaction. It's a good or bad reaction, then a side effect. So then you obviously do the reaction analysis, and a side effect treatments. So reaction analysis could be like, if there's a bad reaction, then obviously there's analysis which will prove out like why that happened. Or sometimes when it's good, it can be like, these many antibodies got created and whatnot. So like all this then need to go for a peer review, which is also defined in the contract. Like, for this, for this trial has to be peer reviewed by so and so, so and so person and all that, and there can be, peer reviewer from whichever country, party, whatever WHO decides to be, well in advance, so that peer review happens. Once the peer review done, once the peer review is done, uh, uh, once the peer review is done, then that's where the entire approval process, in a way, right, the approval process by and large is done. You can also record subject feedback, which can be used for cognitive machine learning kind of technique to find out some hidden nuances of that medicine, which cannot be recorded by typical medical history, medical test, I would say. Then this goes for a mass inoculation. So before it goes for a mass inoculation, obviously we need to understand it goes to manufacturers. These manufacturers also participate, and these manufacturers are from different countries. So they also get in contract with uh, this central contract. So in a way, they are also liable to supply vaccine as per this contract decide. So what should this contract decide? And that's where the entire crux of the game comes. The contract enforces the vaccine should be supplied to the most impacted region. In a way, share of a in the share in terms of most impacted region, rather than uh, if they're ready to buy. Obviously, so there's a financial angle to it. Someone company putting money will look for the returns. So whatever the contract has defined the amount and money for a vaccine, and if a firm is ready to buy for that, if a country is ready to buy for that, and it is most impacted, then he get a maximum share. So this contract, right at the start, try to enforce who is going to get how much share of vaccine. Because these pandemics are not about countries. Pandemics are worldwide things. Countries are poking their nose into it and stretching it, doing vaccine nationalism, doing some chest thumping, but it's not leading to good results. Just stretching it and pandemic and creating variants. That's all it's happening. So and the vaccine which might have would have worked for them as well is not working for them as well. So that's where this two key thing happens. Um, that's how it this entire contract saves the entire world, because the current contract is between countries and a manufacturer. Now the contract is global, and the approval is only in place once to everyone is only in place once they adhere to this contract. Otherwise, no approval, no use of that, no safe easy use of vaccine. So now with this, and everyone who goes through this kind of vaccine get a vaccine certificate. and when he gets a vaccine certificate, he actually is free to travel across the globe. Else he is in else he is in the same issue. So this is how I believe a pandemic can be much easily handled. And why blockchain is able to solve this? Because of its distributed nature and and a very easy way to make so many people come into a same contract. So I hope you like this video, and do like, subscribe, and provide your feedback. I'll keep on improving based on your feedback. Thank you.